Imagine if I told you that your entire life's work, that 3-story dream house, the sweat and blood you've poured into your career, even your family's century-old legacy, could, in a single moment, be worth less than a rotting flower that only stays in bloom for a week. Would you call me crazy, or would you realize the world is broken? Don't answer that just yet. First, walk back with me to the Netherlands 1636. This was the era where money evaporated into thin air and human greed screamed its lungs out in a peak of pure ecstasy. You see, the air in Amsterdam was supposed to smell like sea salt. But that year, it was different. The city was choking on a foul stench, a mix of cheap perfume from the nouveau riche and the cold sweat of gamblers who hadn't slept in days. The textbooks give you this highbrow, sophisticated version. They say the Dutch, out of their refined love for art and botany, discovered a virus called broken colour that gave tulips these breathtaking stripes. They tell you the flower became a status symbol, a hallmark of high society taste. Sounds like a perfectly rational asset allocation based on scarcity, right? Like the elite were just paying a fair premium for luxury. That is nothing but a fairy tale written by scammers for the suckers. The truth, it was a greater fool game so blatant it would make any modern-day Ponzi scheme artist look like an amateur. The secret to this game was simple. Nobody actually needed to see the damn flowers. In 1636, the Dutch invented the world's first paper wealth. They created a futures market called wind handle, literally the trade of wind. You didn't need land. You didn't even need to hold a single bulb in your hand. All you needed was to sign a thin piece of paper in a smoke-filled tavern, betting that a bulb that hadn't even sprouted yet would be worth more next year. It was a classic wink and a nod from the guys in power. The government looked the other way while these unregistered private contracts flooded the market, turning every scrap of paper into a form of shadow currency. When the blacksmith sold the forge he used to feed his family, and the carpenter hocked his saws just to buy a piece of paper that said flour, the dark pool was officially open. Everyone was betting, and the rules. There were no rules. If you think this was just about greed, you re-lowballing how infectious this virus really was. By the time the guy sweeping the streets started calling himself a financial expert who could read the market, the Grim Reaper was already sharpening his scythe. The crash hit without a single warning on the 3rd of February 1637. At a routine auction in Haarlem, a bulb went unsold. Nobody wanted it. Then a second one failed. Then a third. Fear exploded like a plague. A Semper Augustus bulb that was worth a literal mansion minutes ago could be traded for a basket of rotten potatoes minutes later. It wasn't a planned mass suicide, but the desperation felt exactly the same. The dominoes started to fall. People who signed those futures contracts flat out refused to pay because they were holding nothing but garbage. The banks that lent the money started hunting people down, pushing them to the edge. The arrogant nouveau rich vanished from the streets of Amsterdam, and the canals were suddenly crowded with bankrupt men looking for a way out. This wasn't market correction. This was the total instantaneous evaporation of an entire society. Trust now. Picture the most desperate night of your life. Just a week ago, your neighbours saw you as a genius with the Midas touch. They were all asking when you buy your next estate, and now you sitting there staring at this dry, shriveled bulb that looks like a piece of rotting garlic. You think about boiling it for dinner, only to realise that this fortune can even stop your stomach from growling. It was the most absurd moment in financial history. The city's wealth didn't actually disappear. It just withdrew from the collective hallucination in a heartbeat. While the bag holders were left in the mud, the insiders, the guys who cashed out early, were hiding in their stone mansions, sipping fine wine and laughing behind their curtains at the idiots who let greed fry their brains. Don't change the channel yet, and don't think this is just some dusty old story that has nothing to do with you. Reach into your pocket. Feel your phone. Look at those red and green numbers flashing on your screen. You think the Tulip died in 1637. Think again. It just got a facelift. It changed its name and moved into every bubble of every era. When the Fed prints money like it, it's going out of style. When the price of oil or wheat is manipulated in the shadows. Every overpriced meal you buy and every square inch of that insanely expensive real estate is just you paying a convenience fee for a modern tulip. Have you ever wondered why you are working harder than ever, but your money feels like it shrinking? It's because the elite have mastered the ultimate secret of airborne wealth. They manufacture one bulb after another, calling them the future, disruption, or decentralization, all to lure you into betting your 401k on a dream you think you reinvesting. But you read just a spectator paying for a seat in a play where the ending was written before you even bought the ticket. The greatest trick Wall Street ever pulled wasn't creating wealth. It was making every smart victim. Believe they never be the last fool. In an age of endless liquidity where the truth is a luxury item, if you look around the dinner table and you can T-spot the prey, well, you better watch your back because you probably what else for dinner. Next time, we're going to talk about something even crazier than a flower. A real estate fever dream that almost wiped out the entire future of Japan in a heartbeat. Trust me, after you hear that one, you'll think the tulip of 1637 was actually being quite gentle.